to be in Lithuania. I am originally from Estonia and Latvia, born in Riga, but Estonian, so I worked 9 years in Riga Technical University, and after I finished my diploma in architecture, and then in 2015 I was invited to Mexico to be full professor of architecture, but in specialization of digital field, which is all that I am about. And when I was first introduced to the University of Monterrey and their new Center for Art and Architecture and Industrial Design, I saw the building and I was pretty much fascinated. I'll show you a little video. What is the new center of Roberto Garzazada of University of Monterrey, designed by Tadao Ando, just to start. Right, so a little advertisement of the nice place. Obviously, seeing that and full with any possible technology of 3D printing, rapid prototyping, fabrication, everything from laser cuts to large scale, and lots of industrial degree machines like huge water jet devices to cut concrete and make like not only models but real one-on-one scale objects. So this was the first photo I took on the first evening that arrived in 2015 there. I've spent there more than 3 years already. This is the 7th semester teaching, and I understood that in this place, in this context, I have to put in the maximum what I have with me and like put it 100% and if not even 200% of the potential that I've learned. So this one here is something that expects us in very near future. This is not real, guys. This is some sort of rendering. But we have been living in an age full of surprises. The first augmented reality or virtual reality devices were actually a big backpack. You should need to carry the whole desktop computer on your back. And now, well, it's funny, but these phones, they have like hundreds of times more storage memory than the first computers that we had, and we said they were serious working tools. So one thing is memory, second thing is portability, and now when we go further, well, there's a lot of theory behind all the practice, and I would say it is driving the technological innovation. So nothing goes well without theory. This is my thinking. So I'm a big fan of mathematics, geometry, although I don't know much of it. I know how to generate concepts out of nothing. So first of all, what I give my students is not to learn only the BIM or the tool software for modeling, but also to understand the geometrical what we're wanting to do, what we're willing to do. So let's say they have to work with just basic points, curves, lines, and they can see the invisible layers. Like what is invisible? Let's say you're given 3D ellipses that you try to, in a parametric way, using, let's say, Rhino Grasshopper, play around and see what other options comes out, and obviously changing the amount, the count, the diameters, the dimensions, you get lots of versions. So here, this student observed that they are crossing at some point, obvious, no? There are like nucleus traveling around and they have these crossing points. And apparently if you start connecting those just crossing points with new lines, you start to see new dimensions of three-dimensionality. Obviously there's more steps. We do this like 4 consecutive weeks. Literally they work hard to come up with geometries unseen before, all right? That's the first thing. And once you eliminate the layer of original geometric arrangement, let it be hexagon or whatever, you only leave the red lines. You have something that we can call letters, and we start composing words and compositions, and some unpronounceable like LPL, LPL, and etc. Then we do variations. We do quickly check if we can, with a 3D print, see the qualities of volumes and shapes and in a scale model. So I'll be talking on that, taking from the point of view how we can use the rapid prototyping and modeling. First of all, physical modeling and then virtual modeling, and compare if there is anything that I have observed in the practice of teaching in implementing this. Some guys go further. They take these two-dimensional shapes, they arrange them in three-dimensional space, let's say like a half-open book, and then using the points that are already not very standard, not very orthogonal, they are constructing new geometries that emerge inside. So we do this two-dimensional proliferation and then three-dimensional modeling. So basically you go 3 steps away from the original ellipses. You don't see anything of the original ellipses anymore in here, do you? No, there's nothing of it. So this is seeing the unseeable. And obviously making again the different versions, we do kind of form finding. The form finding is great because you can do bigger compositions and also learn in the process just the software, preparing the prototypes, doing quick 3D prints, and seeing further. So then when we do have to communicate an architectural design project, we are kind of trained. Notice that these subjects are being taught in the 2nd semester of the 1st year, and the second part of it, which is the generative geometries, is in the autumn semester of the 2nd year. So 2nd and 3rd semester, they had these ones already, and now from 1.5 year, in a very short future, these subjects will move even quicker, so for the 1st semester and 2nd semester. And you have to count that architectural design starts only in the 3rd semester. So they get kind of mentally wired differently, I hope to see. And this is like the 1st year composition workshop. They work 9 hours a week and they make little pavilions. They are 1:1 scale. This is no rendering, this is actual. And my good colleague from Italy, Daniela Frogeri, who now became our new program director in architecture, basically took the same masters that I did in Barcelona, in University of Catalonia, and she's also hardwired to think about genetic architectures, biomimetic shapes and forms, and this just goes all the way through. We have very strong, these nature-inspired shapes and forms and research and analysis, which I could tell another conference in, okay? So physical scale models. Well, before going to scale models, I very much like 1:1 scale. I have seen this somewhere before, but it's not very popular, but it's extremely cheap. You buy like 10 rolls of masking tape for painters, and you throw out the students into the hot sun of 40 degrees to take down 1:1 scale houses. And notice that, well, there is local building culture. Everyone builds out of one thickness of brick, which is like 15 centimeters. Here you see, this is school of a Viking from Estonia, so they have put some insulation and the walls have become 30-36 centimeters. I tell them that you can bring comfort also to Mexico. Comfort means that you don't lose energy, you keep it inside, the freshness, or you stay away from heat. Both ways it works, the physics. So nevertheless, of some steps further, I'm also testing out this sustainability thing of, I can tell if it doesn't come out well, you don't tell anyone. I'm building the first net zero residential house in whole Latin America. There isn't even one in Mexico and no one in the whole Latin America. Okay? So that's gonna be my own. But here is some student work. When I went there in 2015, I was not a big fan of Rhino because I had been working in Autodesk Maya, which means that you basically model everything. And it's different when you have BIM, when you see the students put together the houses with Revit, you see similar stairs, similar kitchens, all the same furniture. They go to Revit City, they have same windows, they have same, okay? We could talk about the paradigm of Revit architecture as a style. Okay, that's my sarcasm, sorry for that. But then when you have nothing, when you have just 3D space, you have to build everything. And my guys work first with physical models, cutting their fingers or cardboard. I have all 10 fingers left. I always say, keep your fingers, they're important. So learn handling the knife, and then when you have a good idea, you bring it to the computer. But bring it from zero, not using any of the BIM. Sorry for being old school, but this is how you get original shapes and forms, like Alvar Aalto didn't use Revit, and that's maybe why he's super original. Okay? Could mention a few more. So these houses come out maybe not so very well designed, but they're at least original. And quickly checking out the 3D printed models, we can look at them, learn from them, and see that they are on a different level already in the very first design studio assignment. And these models are scale 1 to the 200, which is something pretty cool because usually we do 100 scale, but 3D printing in industrial degree machines, which is printing not a PLA filament, but it's ABS plastic, it has much higher resolution. You can print all the details. Notice the small spiral stairs, and this is in 200 scale, so if a step is 15 centimeters, so it's 0.75 millimeter the step height. All right, so that's really, really tiny scale, microscopic scale. And you don't need to spend much, the models come out quick. You just need a little better machines and a very good file. Okay, you need to have a really good file. Then we have also bigger machines. This is like a 5-axis CNC. Many of the industrial designers use it. They try to make another Tesla in terms of aerodynamics, but haven't succeeded yet. I know it's hard to be Elon Musk in Mexico. But then there is also other large-scale machines like this huge, large laser. Behind is a water jet. I cut marble, granite, concrete, and all things, and steel, like sheet metal of steel on a water jet. And this is great because then we can understand that the models that we make in prototype scale, we could make them also, well, first of all, small. We can go up the scale and we can make maybe a fragment of the building. Like literally a fragment, 1 to 5 scale, or 1 to 2 scale, or maybe 1 to 1 scale of the full fragment. This is just a quick print of low resolution, and this is hobby level printer. These ones you can build actually yourself. You buy the kit. The cheapest ones go for $200-300, and now students, when they see how much it costs to print a model, they actually buy the printer, they build it, and they print themselves. This is a different generation, and it has all happened in the last few years, and it has become much more accessible. Actually, I got so inspired that I thought small-scale prototyping is not interesting anymore for me, so I went and built a CNC of full plywood sheet cutting table at home, because I'm building home, so it's simpler just to cut pieces at home, not to have to be dependent on anyone. I'm gonna make a sauna, a Finnish sauna, a totally perfect functioning Finnish sauna, better than the Finns themselves do, because every Finn is complaining the sauna is badly built. So I have been also living in Finland, I know how it should work, and I want a parametric interior in my sauna. So that should be nice wooden interior and 1:1 scale. Where is better than to experiment at home? One neighbor was not happy. He said, "Hey, is a strange sound coming from your home? Is it okay, the sound?" I said, "Well, I'm building it already for 8 months, and you just moved in and you complain in the second week. You should have seen what I did before." So these are the industrial level 3D printers. So that's a hobby level, small machine. This is big machines. And this prints differently. This prints with 2 filaments. So it is very much more interesting when you can print in air. You have a support, like it builds small bridge support underneath from organic material. And you see what happens with this spoon. If that would be printed in a normal one single filament, then it would need to be done a lot of handling afterwards. Here we can print all sorts of interiors and details. Well, it comes out a little furry, but you just wash it away in something called clean station. It's like going to Statoil or Nesta and you do wash it. So it literally washes away the organic filament and you get only the full 3D model, which is cool because you can print interiors, exteriors. I like models when you take the roof off and you see the inside. I am a big believer that architecture is not only the outside what we do, but also the interior architecture. Like when architect designs the main volumetric parts, like Frank Gehry does, this is one step forward. So these models are great, but at some point I tell them, hey guys, how are you going to make it? Literally. Okay, and then they have to make another model, and I'm a fan of models. I said, let's go up in scale 1 to 10, 1 to 5, and we do all things in two-dimensional layouts, because we can use laser. The laser is cheap, affordable, MDF or plywood, doesn't matter. This young lady did like some 600 bricks in 3 layers, literally. So it's 1,800 small bricks. The last ones fell off. See that? So this is in 1 to 10 scale model. It's quite big. Some models we do like only 40 by 40. We do only one fragment to understand the engineering part of it. They have very strong like industrial design background, all the students, because of the machinery. They take classes and structural engineering things. So what about these unique metallic structures? There is also finite analysis that the industrial designers are doing, so they can put this in, and they can also check it out on model. This one is balsa. It's very lightweight, laser cut. And this one here is a little detail like how we would make it with foundations, connections with the concrete. So it's not only shape and form, but it's actually understanding how you would build that thing. So I think the models are great in all scales. Now let's see further. What about augmented reality? So we need a marker. Marker is something like a visual, with a visual barcode, but it's two-dimensional. It has very unique. This company that gives free academic usage, lifetime, Augment, is one of the latest that I'm using. It's on iPhone and iPad and Android compatible. So well, this is an older one, so I was playing with it a lot in my office, and it's funny when you are looking at objects through your phone screen and maybe having a laugh or just having fun, like these are also animated. I didn't record from screen this one, but a shark actually swims in my office. So I'm looking and I'm having fun and laughing, and people are walking by, and if they don't see that you're looking through the screen, they think you're pretty crazy. So then when the students have to do interior class, which is interior for architects, okay, this is like the 8th or 9th semester, so it's a 4th or 5th year studio where I teach also this class, just to be a little bit more variety, and I'm a big fan of interiors. I let them every week do the updates, but not spend time on making models, like physical models, but do augmented reality. Why? Because I say change the color, change the material, change the texture, and interior is very much about the lights, about placement of things. Well, now you see the difference. This is last year, this is this year. What has changed? Last year, this year. The generation of iPhone, now we have full screen phones. Nothing else. The software is still the same, it's just funny detail. So then when you look, this is a screen record of one of the interiors. There is a Starbucks coffee shop, which is overpriced coffee in the campus. I say, hey, let's make this slow juice, very healthy juice bar, and this is just an interior. And actually when you have the marker glued to something physical, you can hold it and look at it as a real model. And this is crazy. I mean, I really much love it. I know it's nothing new, but the way to use it in the real studio environment and do the updates and bring back the new model, or actually send it to me by email, I can check it myself, is nice, because you can get closer to it, further to it, and you can actually complement a physical model or prototype model or scale model. So I tried to do a summary of the many features and to see some comments and conclusions. Well, there's a lot of things that we could analyze, and I'm sure that none of them replaces one or another, like virtual or real models. They will never replace each other. But there are situations when you really have to see in which scenario, what you want to show. If you want to show just the mass, you can do the 3D print model. If you want to show the structural detail, you have to do like a constructive model, like of the structural model. And if you want to show all the full qualities, if you're designing a home and for the husband and a wife, so maybe it's better to send them an attachment, say they open on their iPad and they look at it at home and they feel that, okay, this is going to be bamboo floor, or this is going to be yellow wall, or the daughter will have the pink wall and that furniture, so they can imagine the unbuilt project. It's hard if you give a family a scale model. and they are just looking at the house from outside. I've seen some guys try to put their eye into the model and see how they're going to feel inside of the home. So then there is virtual reality, which I don't touch. It's dangerous. Apparently, new movie of Johnny English came out, yeah, with Rowan Atkinson. I think it starts screening like yesterday or today, and he got some trouble with virtual reality. So you can misunderstand where you actually are at. So it's dangerous when you have so many machines around. But anyway, some final things. Well, if we can compare everything. Well, first of all, price. Yes, the price is going down for everything. These things that are augmented are free, but you need this phone which costs more than a 3D printer. It's funny, no? When someone says, oh, I can tell you a story, real life story. So the university is private, there's a tuition fee that is pretty high. For a year, I think they pay about 11,000 euros. Okay, if you convert from pesos to euros, this much. So when I say, we will make a model fully 3D printed on an industrial degree machine, I say it's going to be like 2,000 pesos, about, no? You will have this cost. They say, no way, it's like $100. It's so expensive. I say, yes, it is expensive, but it's your like material. It's the same as you would be studying art. You need to buy paintbrush, paint, canvas, and maybe some old clothes to turpentine to wash your hands or whatever. And still, always, the students will complain about any cost, but everyone has iPhone for $1,000, $1,200 and whatever, and every year it has to be changed, the size. No, because it becomes old and it doesn't run the latest Minecraft or whatever these guys are playing. All right? So, price is one thing. It will always be subjective. I don't think it has been ever more affordable than now, all of this. The speed, obviously, physical models take time, but I say it's very different. When you make a model in two-dimensional strategy, let's say from parts, you will have the parts, and then starts the time when you need to invest and start. Maybe do quicker the layout, because unrolling 3D surfaces is fast. We do now in Kaunas this workshop, and thank you Laura for inviting me. We do this workshop with students, and we will unroll the 3D geometry, so it's quick. We can go for movies, and we get the parts, and then we have to spend time to assemble the parts. But those guys who want to have the 3D printed objects, they will have to spend a lot of time more to make a good model. Oh, I'm done. 3 minutes. No, what? So when these guys are done with the 3D model, there's nothing they can do afterwards. They give it to a machine does 12 hours. So we can go to watch the John English, watch the Mission Impossible, watch the Nun, the scary one, no? Watch all of it. We can go to movies, we're free, because the machines does the work for us. So, long story short, there are advantages and disadvantages, all of them. If you want to see in detail, I think everyone can read. From my side, thank you very much, and I wish you an excellent continuation of conference. And thank you again.